Sky and Scroll just won their first ever FNCS, putting in one of the most consistent performances we've seen in a while, but had it not been for this moment, things could have been very different. Today I'll discuss their win. I'll also talk about all 20 duos that made the summit land, as well as the teams that struggled. I'm going to break down the whole tournament for you. Let's get straight into it. Now, it's been nearly 9 months since we last had an FNCS, and it's fair to say that things have changed since then. We've seen a lot of underrated players rise up during the off-season, while some established pros have struggled. So it's fair to say that this Grands lobby was an interesting mix of players, but in the end there was only one duo that was ever going to win, and that was of course Sky and Scroll. Now these guys have been unbelievably consistent lately. Of course they won the Unreal Cup back in December, Scroll won the January solo series, and in terms of their divisional cup record, it's near perfect. They've qualified for all 8, winning 2 of them and not finishing outside of the top 10 once. Because of their consistency, most people had them as their favourites to win, and they ended up having a near perfect grand finals. They had the highest average placement of any team. In fact, they only had 2 games outside of the top 10. They also had the most eliminations with 57. They entered first place after game 3, and that's where they stayed for the rest of the tournament. Now, of course, they landed at their usual spot of North Battlewood, and they've been making this work for them over the past few months. They have a tried and tested strategy where they loot up, stack heals, build their surge bases, look for tags, make sure they're in a good spot going into the end game. Sometimes they sit and storm, sometimes they rotate early. It all depends. They're very versatile, and this versatility was on show during the end games too. Primarily we associate these guys with the low ground, and they did do well from there in this tournament. However, there were also games that they won where they did it from the mid ground too, and this is why they're so impressive. It feels like whatever you throw at them, they always have a solution. They always have multiple routes to that victory royale, and indeed we saw that in game 10 because they got lurked on by Kaito and Haijo, and for a lot of teams this could have completely ended the game for them. But no, Sky and Scroll adapted. Watch how Scroll has the awareness to take the medkits whilst they're being keyed, because he knows they'll have to make a storm play later on. This level of foresight is incredibly impressive. Haijo even gets eliminated later on because he thinks the medkits are still in the surge base, unfortunate for him. Sky and Scroll are a team that have mastered the finer details of their spot, and that was incredibly evident in game 11, where they had the moment that arguably won them the tournament. With 2 games left, Sky and Scroll had a 42-point gap over the team in second, which was Chino and Pablo Wingu, so naturally a big play had to be made. Chino and Pablo decided to land on Sky and Scroll over at North Battlewood, but honestly this played right into their hands. Sky has a ridiculous drop here. He's absolutely slugger maxing. He does this nice jump off the rock to ensure he gets the gun, meaning he can take out Chino and Pablo and win the spawn fight. They play out the rest of the game, making the gap insurmountable, ensuring they get their FNCS win. One thing that's great about these guys is their chemistry. They play together as a unit better than any other duo in the world, and Sky attributes that to his friendship with Scroll. Have a listen to this.
We've known each other for years now, and I would say we're best friends almost, and it just helps us when we play as well, because we kind of know what we think when we play. Like, we know how we play, so it's so easy to just follow each other, get the refreshes, and yeah, play the way we want to.
These guys have been playing together for ages now. They were of course a duo at Globals 2024. It's genuinely so impressive how well they've done over the past few months. In my book, they are the favourites to win the Summit Land in Dusseldorf. Just incredible stuff from them. And speaking of the Summit Land, the question is, which other teams qualified? Let's have a look down the leaderboard and answer that question. In second place, we had Chino and Pablo Wingu. Now, these guys played a brilliant tournament, and if it wasn't for the dominance of Sky and Scroll, then they probably could have won. I liked the play they made in game 11, landing at North Battlewood. It didn't pan out, but it was a bold, risky play, and I do admire them for it. They were pretty fortunate with the zones. Of course, a lot of them pulled over to the east, but listen, you play the hand you're dealt, and they did very well with it. Their consistency is remarkable as well. Second in this event, they of course won the previous FNCS, and then second back in Major 2. These guys have been playing out of their minds over the past year. Genuinely 2 of the most impressive players on the entire region. In third place, we had Vico and Malabuka, a very solid performance from them. They did get contested in a couple of games, which did affect them. I imagine they'll be pretty upset with this result because they would have wanted to go for the win, but third place is still a very impressive achievement. We then had Thomas HD and Focus coming in fourth, and it's fair to say that this cup did not pan out the way they would have wanted. Of course, they landed over in the southwest at Ripped Tides, and the zones were certainly not ideal feel for them. It does feel like over the past month, every single tournament has had abysmal zones for this duo. But listen, they are a team that have incredible quality. Focus in particular, I want to give a huge shout out to, because he is one of the best fighters in the region. He also leads this duo. Genuinely such an impressive talent. And yes, this wasn't the finish they would have wanted. The FNCS win still evading Thomas, but do not rule these guys out for the Summit Land. They have a lot of quality. In 5th place, we had Shark and Teeny. Now, Day 1 did not go to plan for them. They were of course contested over at Wonky Land by Hutty and Fishix, and after 6 games, they were outside of the top 20 needed to make the Summit Land. But of course, they turned it around. They won twice on Day 2 to easily secure qualification. The overall spawn fight score was 5-3 to Shark and Teeny. Hutty and Fishix were unable to qualify. They do still have a chance of getting through in the second chance qualifier, which I'll talk about near the end of the video, but ultimately it was a successful tournament for Shark and Teeny. This is Shark's best FNCS performance to date, and he's only going to get better. The future is so bright for this team. Now in 6th place, we had a team that not many people were talking about at the start of the chapter, and that was Church and Repairs. Now these guys have been doing well for a little while now. At the end of last season, they managed 2 5th places back to back in the divisional cups. They were actually meant to be contested in these grand finals, but Truly and Gonzo left the split, and Church and Repairs took full advantage of this. With 3 games left of the tournament, they were in 3rd place, so they honestly could have finished a lot higher. Listen, both of these guys were playing their first ever FNCS grand finals, so to come 6th is a massive achievement. We will be seeing them at the Summit Land, big credit to them. We had Darm and Deemish finish in 7th, and this was also super impressive because they didn't have a set drop spot. That's right, they alternated between landing at 4 fields where they were contesting Azatgo and iFrozy, and Tip Top Terrace where they were fighting against Twek and Mydro. You never knew where they were going to land, and honestly this strategy panned out excellently for them. Finishing inside the top 10 without a set drop spot is just incredible, so fair play. In 8th place, we had King, Cringe and Twy, and it is great to see a UK duo doing well, and these guys have been looking good for a while now. King Cringe in particular is someone who did excellently during the off season. He was earning in practically every victory cup with Velo across all regions, and let's not forget he only had 1 grand finals to his name before this. That was the Grimgate season, so it's been over 2 years since he last played, but you wouldn't know that based on his performance. Him and Twy looked exceptional in these grands, and they will be at the Summit LAN. In 9th place, we had Syaz and Scary Sean, both players that were making their grand finals debuts. They are in my book by far and away the best Spanish duo in the world, both on Controller 2, which I love. They were actually 3rd after day 1, so an incredible lightning start to the tournament. Didn't go as well on day 2, but listen, Summit LAN qualification for their first ever grand finals is a remarkable achievement. In 10th place, we had Yapko and Panzer. Now listen, this probably could have been a bit higher had it not been for the fact they were contested by Lunex and Wolvax. A pretty unfortunate situation considering they expected to be uncon. However, they were 6th after day 1 despite this. Day 2 was less fun for them, but ultimately this is a pretty solid placement. In 11th place, we had Nebs and Nathan, another UK duo. They started getting contested on day 2, but they were able to hang in there, have a strong game 12 and secure their qualification, so big credit to them. In 12th place, we had Cringe and Volko. These guys had their mid-map split completely uncontested, and I said in my predictions video that if they couldn't qualify for the Summit LAN from there, then questions may need to be asked. But fair play to them, they have delivered, and we will be seeing them in Dusseldorf. In 13th place, we had iDrop and Marius, and they had a horrendous start to the tournament. They were way outside of the top 20 after day 1, and day 2 was threatening to go the same way, but in games 10 and 11, they completely turned it around, managing a 3rd and 1st place to comfortably secure Summit LAN qualification. In this format, all you need is a few good games and you can completely change your tournament. We had Cami and Hari in 14th. This was about as I expected. A very solid team, but one that hasn't been in great form lately. Obviously they made the LAN, but I'm not overly surprised that they didn't challenge for the win. Cheatin and Yanis came in 15th, a team that did slightly benefit from the East zones, but it's lovely to see Yanis still doing well in 2026, a proper legend of EU. We had Swizzy and Pixie finishing in 16th place. And that may not seem like the most impressive result for a team of their quality, but they were in 48th place after day 1. It was an absolute disaster. They got surprise contested over at Dark Dominion by Truly and Gonzo, and they were really struggling off spawn, so they needed a massive day 2 to turn it around, and that is exactly what they had. After 2 strong opening matches, they won game 9 in order to put themselves into the top 20. A remarkable comeback from them, all things considered. In 17th place, we had Chap and Flixie, and this this was not the performance they would have wanted. It's fair to say that for a little while now, this team has been very up and down, but we haven't seen them hit the heights that perhaps we would have expected. When they initially formed after Globals, they looked like one of the best teams on the region, but since then the results haven't gone their way. They haven't managed a single divisional cup win in 2026 so far, and this grand finals just felt like a continuation of the bad form. Yes, they made LAN, but this is a duo that should be challenging for the win. With the mountain uncontested, I would have expected more. It's tough because in a normal season, maybe they would have split after this, but of course they're locked in for the LAN, so they will have to stick together, and maybe that will be a blessing. We've seen strong performances from them in the past. Can they turn it around? In 18th place, we had Reason and Noah Rayleigh, and I'm super impressed with these guys. A lot of people, including myself, felt that Reason's best days were past him. After Globals, he was doing a lot of IRL content. He wasn't fully locked in, but despite an uninspiring offseason, he has returned in style. With the Summit LAN up next, will Reason be able to perform in front of a home crowd? Credit to Noah too. He's someone that's proved that he's still got a lot of quality. I've got a lot of time for these guys because they were some of the best fighters back in Chapter 2, and it's great to see that they're still doing well in 2026. In 19th place, we had Dan DePuzo and Werex. Now these guys were my dark horse pick from the Nothing But Fortnite EU versus NA draft, and it's nice to see that they have been able to make the Summit LAN. Day one didn't go well for them. They were way outside of qualification, but they brought it back in style, and we will be seeing them in Dusseldorf. And finally, the last team to qualify was Darkos and Minori, a francophone duo that were landing over at Builders Barracks. Well done to them. Now, I was going to do a segment about all the teams that finished outside of the top 20 and won't be making the Summit LAN, but that's now not the case because Epic have announced the second chance qualifiers. This will allow 8 more EU duos to qualify for the Summit LAN, so none of the duos that finished outside of the top 20 are fully done yet. Here's a list of some of the duos that missed out on the top 20. As you can see, Akira and Karama do stick out. They had a very unfortunate cup. They got contested for half of their games on day one, and then day two they just couldn't bring it back. But listen, for the second chance qualifiers, they are being coached by Sky and Scroll over at North Battlewood, so I have a lot of faith that these guys are still going to make it. Overall, this was a great FNCS to watch. It does feel like the quality on EU is super high right now. Let me know what you thought of the tournament in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any European Fortnite news. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.